All right, one is Sanhafide and good evening, everyone. The Committee on Education and Youth Affairs of Mina Trente Quatru na Congresso Manhubanguan is now called to order. Today is Tuesday, October 17, 2023, and the time is 6:34 p.m. In compliance with Section 7, subsection 1 of the Standing Rules of the Guam Youth Congress, notices of the committee hearing were published and sent to all representatives and stakeholders via email and through social media platforms. The first notice going out on Thursday, October 12, 2023, and on Sunday, October 15, 2023. Just to remind everyone on the general rules and decorum, individuals testifying or community members who should speak shall first be recognized by the chair before speaking. Individuals testifying or members who wish to speak must unmute themselves and, if possible, have their cameras on for transparency. This committee hearing is also recorded for minute-taking purposes. Before we begin, I would like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues for being here this evening, beginning with Representative Nathan Paz, Representative Kian To, and Representative Ty Whitaker. I also want to acknowledge Speaker Liddy Vinch for joining us this evening. This is our third committee hearing since our term began, and I'm glad that we are able to meet once again and hear bills that will benefit the education and welfare of our island's youth. We have one agenda item this evening, so it should be a pretty quick hearing. And we shall begin with Bill 11-34 COR, introduced by Austin Gaizmer Fortuno, Christian Gyles Ramos, Nathan Paz, and Juliana Laxamana, titled An Act to Add a New Section 33108 to Chapter 33 of Title 17 GUAM Code Annotated, relative to requiring the availability of automated external defibrillators at all facilities of the University of Guam and the Guam Community College by June 30th, 2024, and to cite this act as the Access to Life-Saving AEDs at UOG and GCC Campuses Act of 2023. The bill was introduced on Sunday, October 8, 2023, and was referred to the Committee on Education and Youth Affairs on Wednesday, October 11, 2023, on an interim referral by the Committee on Rules Chairperson. As the bill's main author and principal sponsor, I'll begin by introducing the bill briefly. Copies of the bill can be found in your emails as part of the public notices that were sent out for this committee hearing. Go ahead and make my introduction. I will speak before the committee as the main author of Bill number 11-34, the Access to Life-Saving AEDs at UOG and GCC Campuses Act of 2023. The bill was introduced by myself along with my esteemed colleagues, Representative Ramos, Representative Paz, and Representative Laxamana, and hopes to address a critical issue concerning the safety and well-being of our educational communities at UOG and GCC. So looking at Section 1 of the bill, the intent of the bill is to address the alarming statistics surrounding sudden and out-of-hospital cardiac arrests, which claim hundreds of thousands of lives annually here in the United States alone. Research has shown that immediate defibrillation with an automated external defibrillator or an AED significantly increases the chance of survival, sometimes up to over 70%. Unfortunately, many educational institutions lack comprehensive AED programs, leaving campuses ill-prepared to respond to such emergencies. Now, we have made some developments in making sure that access to AEDs are prevalent here on Guam. Senator Chris Barnett successfully introduced legislation earlier this year to mandate the accessibility to AEDs at all public schools and charter schools on the island. So those are schools that belong under the Guam Department of Education and the Guam Charter Schools Council. And this bill was signed into public law by the governor and imposes a deadline of June 30th of 2023, similar to the deadline that is proposed in this bill. There are also other companion bills that have already been introduced in the legislature. Senator Chris Barnett introduced a bill to require their availabilities at all village gyms and community centers, including our senior centers. And Senator Roy Kinata introduced the bill to include all offices within the government of Guam. One thing to note is that this bill intends to address the exclusion, right, of our public higher education institutions of UOG and GCC, which too serve students, faculty, and the public. And we want to make sure that the facilities within UOG and GCC have AED accessibility as well. So moving on to section 2 of the bill, the section mandates that each educational, athletic, and dormitory facility, right? I think that's one of the big differences between UOG and GCC and the public schools, is that we have dormitory facilities because we have students living on campus. We hope that all of these facilities should have at least one accessible AED within each facility. And accessibility within education and athletic facilities will be during school hours or sporting activities. And accessibility in the dorm facilities shall be at all times, right? Because again, these are living structures. We have students residing in these dormitories. So accessibility needs to be constant. The bill empowers the University of Guam Board of Regents and the Guam Community College Board of Trustees to establish its own deployment and usage protocols, emphasize the importance of correct functioning, the security, and the regular maintenance of these devices. And importantly, as I stated, the bill sets a deadline of June 30th of 2024 for the implementation of the AED access on both campuses, similar to the existing public law that was passed by Senator Chris Barnett in regards to creating AED accessibility within GDOE and the charter schools. Now, section 4, the request for appropriation, recognizing the likely financial implications of this legislation, I have included a provision for the University of Guam and Guam Community College to submit requests for appropriation to ensure the successful implementation of section 2 of this act. This funding is going to be vital in meeting the requirements as was discussed in the bill. Once the bill becomes law, UOG and GCC have the option to either use what's been appropriated to them in their fiscal year 2024 budget to comply with the law or the proposed bill's deadline, or they could take the route of course, if money is tight, they can make a request from the legislature if they really think that they're not going to be able to meet the mandate of the bill without getting additional appropriations. But nonetheless, the bill sets a hard deadline of June 30th of 2024, and it will be up to UOG and GCC to figure out how they will be able to comply with the mandate of the law. There's no excuse if they can't find money within their fiscal year budget to do it, then they'll have to submit a request for appropriation from the legislature, which is what this section makes clear explicitly what they need to do. And then, of course, section 5 and 6, the severability and the effective date. Again, we want this bill to be effective immediately upon enactment because we want to make sure that we send the message to UOG and GCC the same way they did with GDOE and the charter schools, that this is a hard and fast deadline and they need to make sure that they meet the deadline before the beginning of next academic year. So in conclusion, the Access to Life-Saving AEDs and UOG and GCC Campuses Act of 2023 represents, our commitment to the safety and well-being of everyone within our college campuses. By ensuring the availability of AEDs, we are taking a significant step towards creating a safer environment and potentially saving lives. Thank you, and that concludes my introduction as the bill's main author. We will now proceed with any questions, comments, or concerns from the members of the committee. Please feel free to direct them to me, as I'm the main author and the principal sponsor of the bill. And as chair, I would like to go ahead and recognize members of the committee. I see the Speaker Vinch has her hand raised, so I'm going to go ahead and recognize Speaker Vinch.
Thank you so much, Representative Fortuno. I love the entire intent of this bill, as well as because it addresses an exclusion in all the other legislature that's been passed regarding AEDs. My one question was, if I'm not mistaken, AED batteries switched out 2 to 5 years. Who will be in charge of this maintenance and the upkeep of the machines?
Yes, so Speaker Vinch, the UOG and GCC's respective boards are going to be in charge of creating the policies in regards to the usage, the maintenance, the placement, etc., right? The training in regards to the AEDs on their campuses. So in regards to maintenance, it will be UOG and GCC that's in charge of that. Of course, likely the way these two institutions will do it is that they will have a third-party outside vendor become the person that handles that regular maintenance. And so that will be how they will likely accomplish it, is that they will seek out third-party vendors to handle it.
Understand. Thank you, Austin.
All right. Thank you, Speaker Vinch. I'm going to go ahead and recognize Representative Kyanto.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I really like this bill. I have a quick question though. Will administration be like given a little like lesson on how to use these devices?
Yes. So yeah, that's definitely an important component, of course. In regards to using AEDs, their training isn't usually too important because they come with instructions on how you can use them in emergency situations. You see them in public places. I think at the Micronesia Mall, you can see like 2 AEDs at the food court. So they come with instructions so that in the event of an emergency, everyone, regardless of their level of knowledge when it comes to using them, will be able to use it. But the bill outlines a provision that requires the respective boards of UOG and GCC to train faculty, staff, employees of both institutions in the event that, of course, an emergency arises and that let's say it's just that one faculty person that's around or one employee that's around when somebody isn't going into sudden cardiac arrest. They have that knowledge already. But yes, the bill outlines a provision that requires both institutions to train employees, faculty, and staff in regards to the use of AEDs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. One more question. Did you just plan to distribute one for each school?
Yes, so the reason why this bill is a little different than the Guam DOE, the law that was passed to place AEDs at the Guam DOE schools, is that, of course, these high school, elementary, middle school campuses, that's one structure, right? But the way our college campuses work is that you have scattered structures around the campus. So the way the bill is outlined is that, again, in section 2, it should state that each educational, athletic, or dormitory facility. So that means each educational facility would be, speaking in the context of UOG, the library is an educational facility. So there should be an AED there. The School of Business and Public Administration is an educational facility. There needs to be an AED there. So it's not just one AED for the whole college campus. Each facility, whether it's an educational, athletic, or dormitory, needs to contain at least one AED. Now it's up to them if they feel like they need more. Like, let's say the University of Guam Calvo Fieldhouse, that's a pretty big structure, but it's an athletic facility, but one AED is not going to be enough in the event that there's a community event or a sporting event, right? So it will be up to the respective boards of UOG and GCC to come up with the policy in regards to how many, the quantity of AEDs, but the law requires that there should at least be one in each facility. Hope that answers that question, Representative To.
Yes, thank you so much. I totally support this bill. I think it helps ensure the safety of everyone in case anything bad happens. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative To. I'm going to go ahead and call on Representative Paz if he has any comments, questions, or concerns.
Hi, Representative Fortuno. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the floor. I just wanted to express my support for this bill. I did have a concern with the funding, but you already addressed it in your introduction. So no questions from me. Some comments that I wanted to have is, I discussed this bill idea with some of the professors in CNAS. So some of the UOG faculty have already seen the legislative intent based on the newspaper, and they did express support for your bill. I'll say as a CNAS major or as a science major, the nearest AED isn't within the building. It would actually be one building away in the School of Health. And the issue with that is sometimes that's like sometimes they lock up the school, you know, even as students stay back in the science building, it's not accessible at all times. But the definitions that you put forth in this bill will help clarify those accessibility issues. Also, as you mentioned, like at Micronesia Mall, we have the AEDs that are clearly labeled. Everyone knows where they are. And also, I'll just say, when I was off island, like in a research lab in that new institution, I always knew where the AEDs were because they had clear definitions. Here at UOG, not so much. But yeah, I'm in full support of this bill. I have no questions or concerns about it, and thanks for bringing it up.
All right, thank you, Representative Paz, for your words of support. I'm gonna go ahead and recognize Representative Ty Whitaker if you have any comments, questions, or concerns in regards to the bill.
Right. I'd just like to say I'm in full support of this bill, and I think all my questions answered in the introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Whitaker. And thank you, colleagues, for your insightful statements of support for the bill. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for any other oral testimonies if there are any. If not, written testimonies are also welcome to be submitted to the committee. We will be accepting it up until Thursday, October 19, 2023. And the testimonies can be submitted via email to Chairperson Austin Fortuno at representativeaustinfortuno@gmail.com. If there aren't any further questions, comments, or concerns, Bill 11-34 COR as introduced is officially heard by this committee. Thank you. Without any other further items on the agenda, this committee hearing is hereby adjourned at 6:51 p.m. Sidus Maasi and adios. Thank you, everybody.